Do you feel like you've changed your diet, but that stubborn belly still refuses to go away? Have you noticed that losing belly fat seems much harder after 45 or 50? Maybe your arms and legs haven't changed very much, but somehow your waistline keeps getting bigger. If that sounds familiar, you're certainly not alone. And here's something important to understand. The answer isn't doing hundreds of crunches every morning. It's not skipping meals. And you don't need to spend hours on a treadmill either. In fact, one of the most useful things you can do may be surprisingly simple, something you can repeat every single day. In this video, we're going to build a practical daily strategy around 6 important habits. Moving after meals, eating in a way that helps you stay satisfied, getting enough protein and fiber, maintaining your muscle, reducing unnecessary sitting and inactivity, and protecting your sleep and recovery. Now, I want to be very clear about something. There is no single exercise that magically burns belly fat. You can't choose exactly where your body loses fat first. And doing hundreds of abdominal exercises doesn't specifically melt the fat sitting around your waist. For most people, reducing belly fat is part of gradually reducing overall body fat, while maintaining as much muscle and strength as possible. So this isn't going to be another video promising overnight results. It's about habits that you can actually repeat. Because getting older doesn't mean you're stuck with the same waistline forever. Your body can still respond to better nutrition, regular movement, strength training, and healthier routines. And that's what I want you to focus on. Not a miracle pill, not a crash diet, not some extreme challenge that you can only survive for a few days, but a realistic approach you can actually live with. By the end of this video, you'll understand why belly fat can become more stubborn with age, the simple daily movement habit I want you to pay particular attention to, how to structure your meals, why protecting muscle matters, and which everyday habits may quietly work against your progress. So before we talk about what to do every day, let's first understand why that belly can become so stubborn in the first place. So why does belly fat often become harder to lose after 45? One important reason is that our bodies and our daily routines can gradually change. As we get older, muscle mass can decline if our muscles aren't regularly challenged. And at the same time, many people simply move less. Maybe you don't notice it at first. You drive instead of walking. You sit at a desk for several hours. You relax on the couch after dinner. You spend more time on your phone or watching television. And little by little, your total movement throughout the day can decrease. Now, here's an important point. Your metabolism doesn't suddenly break when you turn 40 or 50. That's not how the body works. But changes in muscle, activity, eating habits, sleep, and lifestyle can gradually affect how much energy you use and how easy it is to maintain your previous body composition. And then there's the sitting problem. Imagine someone who exercises for 30 minutes in the morning, but then spends the next 8 or 10 hours sitting. They did exercise. That's good. But the rest of the day may still contain very little movement. This is why daily activity matters so much. And food can quietly add another layer to the problem. Think about a sweetened coffee in the morning, a soft drink with lunch, a larger than needed dinner, a few bites of dessert, then some chips, cookies, or other snacks while watching television. None of these things may feel like a huge amount by themselves, but repeated every day, they can add up to more calories than your body needs. And this is where many people fall into what I call the belly fat trap. They decide they need to lose weight, so they dramatically cut their food. They eat very little. At first, the scale may move, but then hunger increases, energy drops. They move less, cravings become stronger, and eventually they start snacking again. The weight comes back, so they try another extreme diet, and the cycle repeats. That's not the strategy we're looking for. The goal isn't simply to make the number on the scale smaller. The goal is to reduce excess body fat while protecting as much muscle, strength, and energy as possible. Let's take a realistic example. Imagine someone around 60 years old. Breakfast is small. Lunch is rushed. Most of the working day is spent sitting. Dinner is the biggest meal. Then, while watching television at night, there's usually a snack or two. Exercise happens occasionally, but there isn't much movement between workouts. This person might honestly say, I'm not eating that much, and they may be right. The problem isn't necessarily one enormous meal. It's the pattern repeated day after day. Over time, the waistline can gradually increase, while activity and strength gradually decrease. And that's the part I don't want you to ignore. Not because you should be afraid of your belly, but because maintaining your strength, mobility, and metabolic health becomes increasingly important as you get older. This isn't about being afraid of your belly. It's about protecting your ability to move, stay strong, and enjoy your life. So what would I actually do every day? Let's build the routine step by step. Now let's get into the part that matters most. If you want to reduce stubborn belly fat, don't look for one magical exercise or one miracle food. Instead, build a daily routine that makes healthy choices easier to repeat. And if you ask me to choose one simple movement habit to practice every day, I'd start with this. Take a short walk after a meal. Step 1. Walk after meals. You don't need to power walk for an hour. You don't need expensive equipment. And you certainly don't need to turn every walk into a workout. Start with just 5 to 10 minutes after a meal. If that feels comfortable and manageable, gradually work toward 10 to 15 minutes. The pace can be comfortable. The important part is simply getting up and moving, instead of immediately sitting down. Walking increases your daily movement, helps break up long periods of sitting, and light activity after eating can also support healthier post-meal blood glucose management. For many adults, it's also much easier to maintain than an intense workout routine. Imagine you're around 60 years old. You finished dinner. Normally, you might sit on the couch and start watching television. Instead, you put on your comfortable shoes and walk around your neighborhood for 10 minutes. That's it. 10 minutes. Tomorrow, you do it again. And the next day, you do it again. Eventually, it becomes part of your normal routine. Now, I want to make one important clarification. That 10-minute walk doesn't magically burn the fat sitting around your stomach. There is no reliable way to tell your body, burn the fat specifically from my belly. Instead, the walk contributes to your overall daily activity and can support healthier metabolic habits. And when combined with the other strategies we're discussing, those small actions can add up. Step 2. Build every meal around protein and fiber. The next habit is something you can practice several times a day. Look at your plate and ask yourself 2 simple questions. Where is my protein? And where are my vegetables or other high-fiber foods? Protein is especially important when you're trying to lose fat while getting older because it helps support muscle maintenance and repair. And preserving muscle matters. You don't just want the scale to go down. You want to maintain as much useful strength and lean tissue as possible. Good protein choices can include eggs, Greek yogurt, fish, chicken, lean meat, beans, lentils, tofu, and cottage cheese. Then there's fiber. Fiber-rich foods can help support fullness, healthy digestion, and an overall better quality diet. Think vegetables, berries, beans, lentils, oats, and whole grains. You don't have to make every meal complicated. A simple plate could look like this: protein, vegetables, a high-fiber carbohydrate, and a sensible amount of healthy fat. For example, compare 2 breakfasts. Breakfast number 1, toast, sugary coffee, and a pastry. Breakfast number 2, eggs, vegetables, oats, and berries. The second meal isn't magic, but it gives you a better nutritional foundation and may help you feel more satisfied. And that's the real goal. You want meals that make it easier to stay consistent instead of meals that leave you hungry an hour later. Step 3. Strength train regularly. Now, let's talk about something many people overlook when they're trying to lose belly fat: muscle. When people think about losing weight, they often focus almost entirely on the number on the scale. But losing weight isn't the only goal. Preserving muscle is extremely important, particularly as we get older. Resistance exercise gives your muscles a reason to remain strong. And strength isn't just about appearance. It's about function. It's being able to stand up from a chair without struggling, carry your groceries, climb the stairs, travel comfortably, get up from the floor, or play with your grandchildren. You don't need to become a bodybuilder. You can start with simple movements such as chair sit-to-stands, wall push-ups, resistance band rows, step-ups, or light dumbbell exercises. The key is to start at an appropriate level and progress gradually. And don't make the mistake of thinking you have to train hard every single day. Consistency matters more than intensity. Your muscles also need recovery. So think about strength training as a long-term investment in your independence. And remember this, the goal isn't to become a bodybuilder. It's to stay strong enough to live the life you want. Step 4. Break up sitting every day. Here's another habit that can make a surprisingly big difference. Stop thinking about exercise as the only movement that matters. There's also all the movement you do throughout the rest of the day. Scientists sometimes use the term NEAT, or non-exercise activity thermogenesis, to describe energy used during everyday physical activity outside formal exercise. In simple terms, it's the movement you do without thinking of it as a workout. Walking around your house, gardening, cleaning, shopping, taking the stairs, standing while talking on the phone, walking while you're waiting for something. All of these activities contribute to your overall daily movement. And here's a practical rule you can try. If you've been sitting for a long time, get up when it's practical. Stunned. Walk around for a few minutes. Get some water. Do a small household task. Stretch gently. It doesn't have to be complicated. If you're able to do it safely, try creating regular movement breaks throughout your day, rather than waiting for one workout to compensate for hours of sitting. Think about the difference between these two people. Person 1 exercises for 30 minutes and then sits for most of the day. Person 2 exercises for 30 minutes, but also gets up regularly, walks around the house, takes the stairs, goes for short walks, and stays active throughout the day. You don't have to become a fitness fanatic. You need to become a little more active throughout the entire day. Step 5. Protect your sleep. And finally, there's one part of the plan that many people try to ignore. Sleep. When you're constantly exhausted, healthy habits become harder. Poor sleep can make appetite more difficult to manage. It can make exercise feel harder. And when you're tired, highly processed or convenient foods may become more tempting. This doesn't mean that one bad night of sleep suddenly creates belly fat. That's not how it works. But consistently poor sleep can make the behaviors that support healthy fat loss much harder to maintain. So instead of searching for another fat-burning trick, start protecting your recovery. Try keeping a relatively consistent sleep and wake schedule. Reduce stimulating screen use before bed. Limit caffeine later in the day if it interferes with your sleep. Keep your bedroom comfortable, dark, and quiet, and create a simple wind-down routine that tells your brain it's time to slow down. You can also use simple stress management strategies. A relaxing walk, slow breathing, time with family or friends, a few quiet minutes outdoors. Whatever helps you consistently shift from a busy day toward a calmer evening. Because here's something I want you to remember. Recovery isn't laziness. Recovery is part of the plan. When you combine these 5 habits, walking after meals, building meals around protein and fiber, strength training, moving more throughout the day, and protecting your sleep, you stop relying on one dramatic solution. Instead, you're creating a system. And systems are much easier to maintain than extreme diets or exhausting workouts. Now, before we finish, let me give you a few simple tips that can make this entire approach even easier to follow. Before we wrap up, let me share a few simple tips that can make the entire process much easier. These aren't dramatic fat loss secrets. They're practical habits that often separate people who stay consistent from people who constantly start over. Tip 1. Stop drinking your calories. One of the easiest places to reduce unnecessary calories is often in your beverages. Think about everything you might drink during a typical day. Sugary sodas, sweetened coffee drinks, sweetened teas, fruit juices, specialty coffee beverages, and for some people, alcohol. The challenge is that liquid calories often don't create the same feeling of fullness as solid food. That means it's possible to consume a significant number of calories without feeling particularly satisfied. Whenever possible, try replacing some of those beverages with water, sparkling water, unsweetened tea, black coffee if appropriate, or other lower-calorie alternatives. And remember, Sometimes the easiest calories to remove are the ones you never needed to drink in the first place. Tip 2. Don't chase hundreds of crunches. Many people still believe that if they do enough abdominal exercises, they'll eventually burn away belly fat. Unfortunately, that's not how the body works. Exercises like planks, dead bugs, and other core stability movements can absolutely help strengthen your abdominal muscles and improve core function. And that's valuable. A stronger core can support posture, balance, and everyday movement. But those exercises don't specifically remove fat from your stomach. Reducing waist size generally comes from overall fat loss, supported by consistent nutrition, movement, strength training, and healthy habits. So don't judge an exercise by whether it makes your stomach burn. Judge it by whether it helps make your body stronger and more capable. Tip 3. Track your waist, not just your weight. The scale can be useful, but it doesn't tell the entire story. Body weight naturally fluctuates from day to day because of hydration, food intake, sodium, and many other factors. That's why waist measurements can be another helpful progress marker. If you decide to measure your waist, try to do it under similar conditions each time. For example, first thing in the morning before breakfast. But don't obsess over tiny daily changes. Instead, look for gradual trends over time. And remember to track other forms of progress too. Ask yourself, are you getting stronger? Do your clothes fit differently? Do you have more energy? Can you walk farther or more comfortably than before? These improvements matter just as much as the number on the scale. Tip 4. Make healthy choices easier. Willpower is helpful, but your environment often matters even more. Make healthy decisions easier by setting yourself up for success. Keep protein-rich foods available. Prepare vegetables ahead of time. Keep a water bottle nearby. Put your walking shoes where you can easily see them. Schedule movement breaks into your day. And if certain snack foods tend to cause problems, make them less accessible. The easier a healthy choice becomes, the more likely you are to repeat it consistently. And consistency is what creates results. Tip 5. Don't expect perfect days. This may be the most important tip of all. You are going to have imperfect days. Everyone does. You might eat a meal that wasn't part of the plan. You might miss a workout. You might have a stressful week. You might have a weekend where things don't go exactly as you hoped. That does not mean you failed. One unhealthy meal doesn't destroy progress. One missed workout doesn't erase your effort. And one difficult weekend doesn't undo months of healthy habits. The people who succeed long-term are usually not the people who are perfect. They're the people who get back on track quickly. So remember this. We're not trying to build a routine you can follow perfectly for 7 days. We're building habits you can live with for years. And with that in mind, let's bring everything together and talk about what success really looks like when it comes to losing stubborn belly fat. So let's bring everything together. If you want to work on stubborn belly fat, remember these 5 daily priorities. First, walk after meals. Even a short, comfortable walk can help increase your daily movement and break up long periods of sitting. Second, build your meals around protein and fiber. Give your body the nutrients it needs while choosing foods that help you stay satisfied. Third, strength train consistently. You don't need to become a bodybuilder. You simply want to give your muscles a reason to stay strong. Fourth, break up long periods of sitting. Stand up, walk around, do some household activity. Look for small opportunities to move throughout the day. And fifth, protect your sleep and recovery. Because a healthy routine isn't just about what you do during the day. It's also about giving your body enough time to recover. Now, I want you to rethink the goal. Don't wake up every morning thinking, I need to destroy my belly fat. Instead, think, I want to become stronger, more active, and healthier, and allow my waistline to improve as a result. That's a much more sustainable goal, because meaningful changes in body composition usually happen gradually, not overnight, not because of one magical exercise, and not because you followed a perfect diet for 3 days. Imagine getting up from a chair without thinking twice, walking without feeling exhausted, putting on your favorite clothes and feeling comfortable, carrying your groceries with confidence, climbing the stairs more easily, traveling without constantly worrying about your fitness, playing with your grandchildren without feeling like you need to sit down every few minutes. and simply feeling stronger and more capable in your everyday life. That's what we're really working toward. A healthier body that helps you enjoy your life. So remember this. Your age doesn't mean you've missed your chance. Small habits, repeated consistently, can still make a meaningful difference. You don't need to change everything tomorrow. Start with one habit, repeat it, then build from there. Because the goal isn't simply to have a smaller stomach. The goal is to build a stronger, healthier, more capable version of yourself one day at a time. Now I want you to choose just one habit to start with. Which one are you going to begin first? Walking after meals? Eating more protein and fiber? Strength training? Moving more throughout the day? Or improving your sleep? Tell me your choice in the comments. I'd love to know where you're starting. And here's a simple challenge. For the next 7 days, don't try to be perfect. Just walk after one meal each day. Include protein and fiber in your meals. Take regular movement breaks. Do appropriate strength exercises. And try to keep a consistent bedtime routine. Remember, the goal isn't perfection. The goal is consistency. If this video gave you something useful, tap the like button and share it with someone over 45 who may also be trying to become healthier and more active. And subscribe for more evidence-informed videos about healthy aging, nutrition, mobility, fitness, and everyday wellness. And remember, don't wait for the perfect workout or perfect diet. Start with one simple habit today. Repeat it tomorrow, and let consistency do what quick fixes never can.